It's time for the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Powerful and liberating business strategies you can start in 5 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, Dean Soto.
Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of FreedomIn5Minutes.com, and we're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode. Today's topic is this: there's no such thing as success and failure, only signals. That and more coming up. Well, hello. I am so glad to be back with you. This is a wonderful day and a really cool story that I think is going to resonate with you. Well, one of my partners, Mr. Paul Tran, and I went and spoke at WeWork. We spoke at WeWork. I think I mentioned this maybe in the last podcast or one of the podcasts. But we went and we spoke at WeWork in Costa Mesa, California, both at Park Center and Park Tower, which they're right next to each other. It's pretty hard to it's actually, I should say it was pretty hard to miss them, but we actually did miss them when we first went there because they're so close to each other. We didn't know if we were in the right one. But anyway, it was awesome. Really interesting experience both days. So the first day, Paul and I got up, and so the way that the talk is structured, Paul, at least for now in this particular trial of these talks, Paul gives the brunt of the presentation. He's been wanting to really break into the public speaking realm. I've been doing public speaking for a long time, to include a full year of public speaking while I was deployed in Kuwait. Like literally every weekend, it was doing public speaking with doing something with some kind of presentation with a military general every weekend. It was not fun in the beginning, but afterward it became second nature. It was really awesome, actually. But I digress. So he really wanted to get into the public speaking realm. And with that being said, it was really cool because he really had a lot of courage and took the opportunity to develop himself really by putting himself in fire, just really going through and getting trialed by fire. And so the first round and structure of the presentation, he got up there, did extremely well. There was one thing, is that he has a really good stage presence about him and did extremely well and was extremely credible, and then hot potatoed the mic to me in about 8 or 10 minutes. And I pretty much delivered the rest of the presentation, just improvising the entire thing. But it was cool because people seemed to really love the presentation. They loved it even though it was winging it. So we went, later on that day, we went back to his house, and we ended up restructuring the entire talk because of just how it just wasn't structured well. It didn't sell well. It was just kind of odd, just in general, but people loved it because it was really informative. And Paul was really, really good. And then I've just been doing this for a while. So the first talk it just worked out really well. The second talk was structured really well, but I don't know if it was delivered well on both of our ends. Really, Paul really hit a couple great base hits in the very beginning, and really had some awesome things. But it wasn't really like, from the comparing when he started the first one to this one, he was like 100 times better. And Paul, I know you listen to these, so this is some good constructive criticism, because I think you were night and day better. I mean, it was so good the second round, and I think it was more of the structure of the presentation that it just didn't lend well to the topic that we had, which the topic was how it was BSing the growth of your business. And so everything had to be put into this BSing type of, it's kind of this frame that we're trying to put people into and trying to put this presentation into. And so So he did really, really well, but it was hard because we were trying to put the presentation into this one frame, and it just wasn't working too well. So even when I got up, it just was an awkward thing all around, right? And so it was cool because people enjoyed it, but at the same time, they gave some good criticism. One of those things being, well, we don't really know what you guys do. Like, you're there was kind of a little bit of a pitch, hey, you can work with us and so on toward the end, but they honestly didn't know exactly what we did. And so it was a better structured presentation, but even with that structure, there was a little bit more confusion than the first one. And so it's interesting because that coupled with the fact that we were waiting, we're waiting. We had this questionnaire, and we were both actually afraid to look at these questionnaires and get them back and see if there's anything negative and so on. It's just, you don't want to get, I don't know. There's that feeling in the pit of your stomach of, I don't want to look at these because someone's going to say something bad or whatever. And meanwhile, ignoring the fact that the majority of people are going to say nice things, knowing that they're going to turn this in, So all that being said, throughout everything that I just said as for this story, one thing became clear. And Paul was so good at really reframing my mind around this, and that is that really there's no success or failure when it comes to these things. There's only signals, okay? And what do I mean by that? You could say that, well, if you made a ton of sales, or you got a ton of claps, or people were super happy with your presentation, that was a success. Or if people didn't like the presentation, people didn't buy, people didn't do what you expected them to do, that's a failure. But in reality, that is just the market. Those are people telling you something, telling you that maybe it wasn't a good fit. Maybe the structure of the presentation wasn't good. Maybe the structure of the presentation was great. Maybe the venue, people are not apt to buy something right away, or sign up for something right away, or meet with people right away. Whatever it is, people are giving you a signal at that point in time. They're giving you a signal. They're telling you, this works, this doesn't work. We want this, we don't want this. And that is totally fine. And the best part about it is either signal, whether it's a negative or a positive, will help you to push your business forward. Okay. So if you go and you start launching a product, or you come up with a new product offering or service or something like that, and people don't resonate with the webinar that you did, or the email campaign that you did, that does not mean it's a failure. It might mean that you can't sell this particular thing directly from your email, or people don't want to buy it off a webinar. They want to buy it off a teleseminar, or they want to buy it in person. A lot of people will try to sell a high ticket item by just putting up an online shopping cart and asking people to fork over $10,000. Well, that doesn't really work. Not all the time, but it could, depending on what industry you're in. But it's not always. You're not always going to be able to do that, right? Some people like to meet you in person prior to forking over money. Some people haven't had their mindset converted yet before even being able to give you money, right? Sometimes people look at what you have and they're like, I just don't understand it, because they don't know that they even have a problem yet. And so there's so many factors, there's so many things, so many signals that people give you, that once you interpret them, once you see what they're trying to tell you, because you have to be good at interpreting these signals. Once you see them, and once you look and really ascertain what they are trying to tell you, they can be a gold mine. It could be so valuable to you and to your business. It can be an extremely profitable translation if only you see it as data, if you see it as a signal, as you see it as somebody trying to tell you how they want to buy from you. So what are you doing right now? What's one little thing that you can change or try or put up? Maybe it's sending direct mail to your customers. Maybe it's sending email to your customers instead of direct mail. What is one thing that you can change and try to see if you're going to get the signal that you want? What's one thing that you can change and try to get the signal that you want? For me, just an example is I'm trying direct mail, a lot more direct mail, newsletters in the mail, like direct mail meaning in your mailbox you will get this with goodies and sales letters and postcards and things like that. Trying something that most of my market does not do, right? Because it might be because they've tried it and it doesn't work, or it might be because they haven't tried it, right? And so that's something that I'm going to see, and I'm going to see what the signals are. I'm going to see very quickly whether the market is telling me yay or nay. And that's fine if it's a nay, and that's great if it's a yay. But even if it's a yay, how much of a yay is it? Is it enough to warrant to continue or not? But that's how you have to look at it. This is all data. Don't take it personally. It's hard, it's scary, but don't take it personally. The more that you're able to not take it personally, the more you're able to turn this into an absolute gold mine for you, for your business, and for your customers. All right, so this is Dean Soto, Freedom in 5 Minutes. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com. And when you do, you're going to see the business process scorecard. You're going to see the masterclass there. Get introduced to the Freedom in 5 Minutes method. So you do not have to, you literally can, every 5 minutes, 5 minutes a day, you can outsource something so that you never have to do it again. 5 minutes a day is all it takes. And you can literally outsource your entire company and automate your entire company, systemize your entire company in 5 minutes a day. Often we see it in about 60 days or less. People are able to completely exit their business and do the things that they want to do. So anyway, Dean Soto, freedomin5minutes.com, and I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes episode.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Now, head over to www.freedomin5minutes.com and register for our free masterclass and discover how to start systemizing and automating your entire business 5 minutes at a time. We'll see you next time on the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.